Hey everybody, Josh Ujima here from Design Make Teach and designmaketeach.com. I'm doing a webcam live stream, my very first webcam live stream. It's super cool. You just plug the camera in, and on YouTube you click start camera, you type in some stuff, and you're ready to go. So I think this is cool for like people who are really anxious about kind of getting started with video and editing and all that stuff. Just kind of being able to plug in the cam, go live, and have your audience on there, I think is a cool thing. So I'm going to NAMCOM, the Nation of Makers Conference in Santa Fe, New Mexico, next month. And at NAMCOM, they're going to have this this sculpture, this 3D printed sculpture with over 2,000 parts. And people all across the nation are printing pieces of a Rosie sculpture sculpted by Jen Schachter. Jen Schachter is part of OpenWorks in Baltimore. So she, in addition to being a talented sculptor, I think helps run the makerspace and the OpenWorks makerspace in Baltimore. So the We the Builders project take really sculptures, models, and they slice it up. And then it's an open source project where lots of people in the community go out and print these parts. And so this one, Adam Savage is going to help assemble it at the Nation of Makers conference. I think they've done George Washington and Edgar Allan Poe, and I think they may have done one other We the Builders project like this. And so you go on the site and they give you a slice model. So there's lots of cubes like this, and you have to log in with a Google account. But anyway, so I think today, tomorrow is the last day before shipping it. I think they probably have like 50 or 60 more pieces to be done. So I've been printing for the past couple of weeks, and I have 14 pieces all together. So I've got to box all of those up and take it to the UPS store and put them all in there. And so I want to take opportunity on this live stream just to kind of talk about that process a little bit. Hi, Tinker Al. Great to see you on the live stream. Glad you're here. So you download one model at a time, you slice it up and print it out. Once you've printed it, you take a picture of it, record the dimensions, and then let them know that that's done. And then they give you another part if you want it. And then you put in a tracking number so they know that the part's shipped. So this is wethebuilders.com if you want to check the site out. So printing the models, that's pretty standard. You want to, they give you a number to label them. So all of the parts are labeled for sort of this grid system with an X, Y, and Z coordinates so they can help assemble those. And so for this particular project, they wanted flesh tones to represent the diversity of female makers out there. So they're doing this sculpture of Rosie the Riveter. We the Rosies is the name of this particular project. And so the thing is, for filament, I don't have a lot of skin tones. So I was using this pearl white from Ultimaker, PLA. And so what I do to color them is I use these alcohol-based inks. So this is Adirondack alcohol-based ink that you can find at the craft store. And the cool thing about this is you can just kind of drop this on drop by drop, and it follows the layer lines and gives this nice kind of cool effect. So on this model, this is the only part that you're actually gonna see out in the world. And then all this other part is internal. And so these parts will kind of stack on top of each other. And so these are random, so they're not actually going to mesh up here. But so that's what I'm doing. And so I did some with those alcohol-based inks, but you can also use Copic markers. Sharpies also work. You don't want anything like a Crayola marker where if it gets wet, the stuff's going to stain. So you can also take these Copic markers, and I like the ones that have brush tips. Okay. The thing about the Sharpie markers with the hard tips is it's hard to kind of get into all the little nooks and crannies. So this one has a brush tip. And so for, kind of adding flesh tones in here, adding a little bit of color, this is nice because a spool of filament's like $50. And so if you try and have a variety of colors, you can spend $500, $1,000 on filament, or, you can get markers for $3, $5 a piece and be able to add color to your print. So did a bunch of these, and So just getting ready to pack them up. This one's for Casey Hulkren, Pretty Small Things. She does 3D printing courses on Lynda. She used to be a Make magazine editor. And so this project has been super cool. Todd Blatt, I think, is the original force behind We the Builders. I kind of know him from the East Coast 3D printing community, and I'm used to be a Make magazine reviewer. So just kind of hanging out at maker fairs and different places like that. And so I think I might have gone a little bit heavy on these. I think I did 10% infill. And so one of these blocks took about maybe 10 hours. I probably could have gotten a bigger nozzle on, and I could have made the layer heights bigger, but I just took my standard Ultimaker print settings in Cura and printed these out. So I have a bunch of these, and in each one I dedicate it to a different female maker. And so I have a lot of students at my school who've been learning about 3D printing in the past couple of years, making, design, that sort of thing. And so this block right here, X7Y13Z14, was dedicated to my students. Here's one that my daughter did. So she used the different Copic markers to kind of do the pattern here. And so I like to kind of do this sort of artistic effect where I drop the ink on kind of layer by layer to make those sorts of things. So this one is for one of my teacher friends, Hannah Prebeck. She's a great maker educator, but I really like how the ink kind of follows the layer lines and really gives you this cool kind of wood grain effect. And I think it really kind of fits the theme of this sculpture that's going to come together of representing the diversity of women in the maker community. And so like this one's for Colleen Graves, and I used a little bit of gold alcohol-based ink on here, and it's harder to see, but I think that little pop of metallic sort of stuff really adds a nice kind of effect to this particular piece. So this one was for Colleen Graves. And so then this one's just markers. All right. And so I think with post-processing, you can get a lot of super cool effects. And so I think these are going to look nice, perhaps with some other kind of solid pieces to have these kind of little striped pieces in the whole sculpture. So I'm really looking forward to that coming together. I'm sure Adam Savage is going to do a video on that. But you can see you just get a whole slew and range of colors when you start doing post-processing with these alcohol-based inks or Sharpies. This is from my friend Corinne Takara. She's a designer and educator and artist in California, and she does a lot of nice work mixing her Japanese-American heritage with artwork and 3D printing and design and community building. And so, a lot of these pieces for We the Builders are pretty much rectangles or cubes, but, you get some of these super cool, interesting parts. So I think when you start, sort of getting around the edges of curves and things like that. So this one's for Carla Diana. She wrote Leo the Maker Prints, a book about 3D printing for kids. And so you got some interesting pieces. It's kind of funny when you don't know kind of where these are going to end up in the sculpture. I saw somebody on Twitter had actually taken like the 30 or 40 pieces that they had printed, put them in Rhino, and kind of figured out where they were going to be on the model itself. Perhaps the funniest piece that I got was this one, which is just this super tiny little one. So I think this is probably just going to be like on the corner or edge of a piece there. And so it's funny because it was in 2 parts. So I put it in a plastic bag to be able to figure these out. The thing about the slicer, like I think they did it in NetFab. They took the sculpture and sliced it into pieces and saved one each individually. And so I did have to do a little bit of orientation on the print bed. Like I think this one, the model might have come out like that, and like I would not print this like that. So I went ahead and flipped it around. Hey, Tom, the Rosie sculpture is going to be, as far as I understand, is going to be 6 feet tall. And And so they're trying to figure out the best way to kind of glue that together. So on this piece, like this is the outside, but on some of the pieces, they have a spot in here. I don't know. It looks like maybe they're going to use a 2x4 or a 2x2 as kind of a internal structure or framework armature, I guess, to get all these pieces to hold together. So because the conference is like 3 days, they're not going to have a lot of time to take these 2,000 pieces from all over the country and the world, figure out where they go, glue them together, hope the glue dries, and then have a strong structural piece. So I think that internal armature is going to be useful for them to make sure things don't start getting wacky in there. So, all right, I dug deep and tried to find some colors that are flesh tone, but again, like if you go to some of these brands, I think Robo 3D here, they only had like white and maybe one other color that could kind of be a flesh tone. So it is challenging, and that's why it's good to have access to some third-party stuff like Color Fab, or just having access to some brands of filament that work well on your printer that have a kind of a diversity or range of colors. So that one's for Liz Aram from Ultimakers, North American Education type of thing. And then this one here, this is in MakerBot's filament. And this is like a stone. The art teachers, when I order stuff for the school, the art teachers always want kind of a neutral color. So not a white, not like a stormtrooper white. They kind of like these kind of natural material colors. So kind of a neutral type of thing. So I think this would be like good for architectural models and stuff. And so that one's for Nicole Thomas. That's appropriate because she's like a MakerBot ambassador, educator type of person. But again, this is one where it was one model or one piece, but it came in 2 parts. So I put it in a baggie so they'll know that those 2 pieces come together. And I guess they're going to have to figure out on the fly, like kind of where that little corner piece goes. So I don't envy them of that. And then, so this is probably one of the more interesting little pieces here. So this one's for Laura Tallman at Math Girl. She does some awesome stuff. And I did put a little bit of the Copic markers on here. I think it's kind of hard to tell, but just to add a little bit of variety to the skin tones there. And oh, boom. All right, so this is the white. And it's funny, like when you print something that's like a pure white and then you actually compare it to real stuff, you realize like that's not a good skin tone color. Like nobody's skin is actually kind of that bright stormtrooper white. So this was me. This is one of the first pieces where I was just trying the different colors of markers there just to see the effect. And this one is for a friend of mine, Andrea Relator. She teaches at the school with me and does some great kind of makerspace projects. And so I had her ink this. And so like when you're trying to involve kids or community members in a project, I think being able to have them ink stuff is a cool way to have them feel like kind of emotionally invested in the piece. I've done some stuff. I did an article for Make Magazine about having kids color filament with Sharpies as it was feeding into the printer. And kids love that, right? So like they can't design and model and print something like at a Maker Faire right then, but they can color the filament and watch it go in. And I've had kids sit there for like half an hour coloring the filament going in to like make a little makey robot. And then when it comes out, right, it's their piece. And so you can also like 3D print stuff like this and then give it to people. And even though they don't have maybe 3D printing or modeling skills, they can feel like they're a part of that project because they're the ones who are hand coloring stuff. And like, I think MakerBot might have done that at one of the Maker Fairs where they printed out like a bunch of the blank bobblehead robot kind of pop figures, all in kind of a white filament. And they had different artists kind of paint them and do do different stuff with them. So if you're looking for like a collaborative art project, I think that can be a cool thing. Hey, Mike Whaley, thanks for joining in. And then this is another little piece for Anna France. She was my Make magazine editor. She was the 3D printing and digital fabrication editor for, I think, the 2014 issue of the 3D printing review that I wrote in. She's also written this cool book about CNC furniture for Make magazine. So that's what I'm doing today. Is I'm taking all these pieces, boxing them up. I'm going to probably ship them out at the UPS store. So if you've printed some things for the We the Rosies project, please be sure that that you box those up and get them shipped out as soon as you can, so that all of the pieces arrive in Santa Fe, New Mexico in time, and they all get those assembled. So hello, NLTMW. I should probably know who that is. It seems familiar. But hey, thanks everybody for joining the stream. I'm trying to get the studio set up. It's kind of a bummer because like I'm trying to figure out how to do the lighting, but like I have my Ultimaker and the Robo 3D there, and I'd like people to be able to see more of what's going on, but I got to figure out the lights and the benches and stuff like that. So for those of you who were in the live stream last night for Friday 3D printing night, I looked at my video, and my video was like super poor quality compared to some of the other folks. So I'm also trying to figure out my whole camera situation. It doesn't look so bad here, but so this is awesome. And I think I'm going a little long, but for the 4 of you who are here, this is awesome. As you know, I have a YouTube channel, and like it was monetized, and I was making like $2, $3 every once in a while, and that was cool. And so like I'm feeling really down about this whole having to get 4,000 hours, right? Because I'm at like maybe 80,000 view minutes, and I need 240,000 view minutes. And so I don't know, maybe I'll just do live streams. I don't have to worry about editing. I can be here just like showing you what I'm doing without a lot of setup, and just kind of share what I'm doing. And I think what happens is like I get too wrapped up in, oh, I need to script stuff and I need it to edit it so it looks like a Duresta video or something like that, where really I just want to like be there and hang out with you guys and show you the cool stuff that I'm doing and thinking about, and not have to, you know, sit on something for a week or 2 weeks. Yep, and I'm hearing some folks. Live streams are good. I think the other thing that I'm excited about is ERF is coming up, so the East Coast Rep Festival, and I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of the content creator community. I'm excited about being part of that. I've kind of let my channel wither a little bit, and I'd like to go out and do some more video, get some more confidence, meet some folks, and get going with that. So if you want to leave a comment and tell me like kind of what your project is that you're working on, I would love to do interviews with people at ERF. Maybe get some people in on the live stream here and have some talking and that sort of thing. So congratulations to all of you. I see some of you have printed parts. Thanks for the comments about the lighting and the video. And so that's my first experiment with the webcam video. I got to go to the UPS store right now and make sure this gets shipped out. So thanks for watching, and have the best day ever.